Hello students, my name is Professor Lando, and in today's video, we're going to be answering some of your questions in this special tutoring session here at Ligma University, home of the Cat Boys. Kitsunero VT asks, if you had a portal gun, would you frick yourself? A portal, where through the use of some sort of rift, one is able to go through one point and out the other in separate locations. And the question is, would I use such a rift, a portal, to frick myself? And to that I would say, it's not so much a question of would I, but rather a question of how would I? Let's look at some examples. So I do believe that most people, when considering portals and a position to frick themselves in, most people would position the portal like this, where the positioning of the portals allows you to get behind yourself. In terms of the orientation, these arrows designate where the portals are leading. So that would be in here and out behind. Now this might seem obvious to most, but I would not recommend this position, just because in concept, as many things are, this sounds good, but in practice, you're gonna be, and imagine it, you're down on the floor, you're gonna be craning your neck like this. I mean, yeah, you're gonna be able to go down like a Chinese buffet on yourself, but think of your posture, think of your spine. I mean, my posture is already bad as it is. I can't be having this portal situation cause me to crane my neck. So then students, you might be wondering, what do I recommend in terms of portal placement? Again, this is all hypothetical, of course, but I do believe that I've come up with the most optimal portal positions for self-pleasure. This situation here, where you have portal A on this side, and portal B not being parallel to portal A, but instead on this perpendicular plane on the floor. So here you can see that the direction would be in this way and out upwards on portal B, the lawnmower placement. And this is just going to be way easier on your back and your posture. See, if I was the person involved in this placement, I'd be able to get up right behind myself, and whatever it might be, let's say we were to involve some additional items, perhaps a plug or some beads, I'd be in prime position to grab it and pull with the natural alignment of my body, as you can see here. Thus the name lawnmower position. Of course, if I were to involve myself in a more hands-on approach, I would be able to, again, following the natural posture of my body, be able to do so without difficulty, as opposed to the previous position where, again, this craning of the neck. Dabes4660 asks, Professor, what are your most underrated tags? It does seem like the public's tastes nowadays grow more and more extreme every day. And when it comes to my recommendations for things that might be considered perhaps not as popular or, most importantly, underrated, I would recommend something more wholesome. You might enjoy the change of pace with tags such as vanilla, very wholesome, or perhaps tags like childhood friend, stories of love that follow two people over the course of the romantic lifelong journeys. Or tags like hand-holding. Now, it does seem today that all you see are more graphic, perhaps brutal displays of affection, and you might find that going back to the basics might kindle a little bit of that innocence deep down. There's also this tag, water sports. Serenity Now 85 asks, how are you? I'm doing great, Serenity. Thank you so much for asking. That's very sweet of you. Never been better, actually. Shadow B27 asks, healthiest way of gooning? Let's find out. The only thing that I consume more than gooning material is caffeine. I start every morning with a cup of joe. I have pre-workout before the gym, and for those late night study sessions, I might go back in for another cup or two. And admittedly, this has given me quite a tolerance to caffeine. It takes more and more caffeine every single day. To eventually, I don't even feel the positive effects anymore, and I just need that coffee to feel some semblance of normality. And the same could be said about gooning. So the methodology is you start low, keep the goonage levels as low as possible, and ramp up to the maximal point of goonage and release, and start back low, cycling in this state of low to high goonage and allowing your body to reach that homeostasis level. Going back to our caffeine metaphor, you can consider maximal goonage almost like drinking 5 cups of coffee a day. If you're going to do that every single day, you're going to build up a tolerance, much like gooning. Again, the key thing to point out with this methodology is that it's not one of restriction. Every now and then, you can hit that maximal goonage. Boom, NTR. Boom, futanari on male. Boom, dicker on male. Moderation, and allowing ourselves to goon as long and as healthy as possible. Let's talk about some safe practices while gooning. What I'm talking about is goon detection, or rather, avoiding goon detection. Now, many of us intellectuals, I'm sure, have been caught red-handed during our intellectual pursuits. And I'm sure we've faced many consequences, aggressions, reprimandings for doing so. And I want to suggest a methodology to avoid that, and it's 2 words: preparation and planning, or the PP methodology. Let's give a little thought before our academic sessions to prepare for the unfortunate event that someone stumbles on our intellectual pursuits. Oh no, you have caught me gooning, is what you would think. But because of my preparation and planning, I can do a quick sleight of hand to actually reveal that I'm chopping vegetables. You can set these materials up beforehand by the side of your bed, on your desk, so that, caught in the act, little quick switcheroo, and, oh, no mom, I'm preparing a hot pot. You've caught me gooning? Think again, I'm actually shuffling a deck of cards. Have I been caught gooning? No, because of my preparation and planning, I'm actually just shaking my Gamer Subs shaker cup with flavors like anime girl thighs and my personal favorite, guacamole gamer fart 9000. You can click the link below to get 10% off with code LANDO. Thank you to Gamer Subs for sponsoring this video. As you can see, there's many creative ways that you might avoid goon detection. It's going to be up to you and your particular circumstances, and most importantly, room layout, to determine what would serve as the best smokescreen for all of your intellectual activities. Zenthic4131 asks, predict top 10 kinks in 2050. Academia is not only about describing what is and what has been, but also what will be. 2050 from the publication of this lecture is about 24 years from now. And much can change in that time, including people's intimate fetishes and preferences. Clankification, which will be the fetish of people becoming less human and more machine. The process of augmenting oneself to become more machine-like will be the kink in 2050. The next kink will be flesh gooning. In a world where people are becoming clankified and more machine, the opposite scenario will now become a kink, where in a world of cyborgs and hybrids, the more flesh you are, the more fetish-sized you will be. Will loss, the kink where in a world where machines will get off to the idea of a, for the most part, humanoid person giving up their free will and plugging into the machine hive mind. This act, or will loss, will be sort of like the new virginity of the far future, instead of people being obsessed with the much outdated concept of losing your virginity. Machines and cyborgs will get off to the idea of losing your will loss. De-anthropomorphism, which will be the opposite of anthropomorphism. These days, we take inanimate objects and we give them human qualities. We turn horses into horse girls, battleships into ship girls. We give a toaster a face. But in the far future, when machine and corporations have reached a critical point where inanimate objects are commonplace, the opposite will be the kink, where they will take humans and fetishize the idea of those humans becoming more inanimate. So, deep anthropomorphism. Home gooning, when in the far future, the thought of owning a home will be but a fantasy, a far-fetched fantasy, a myth perhaps. The thought of gooning on property that you own will become a very extreme kink. Perhaps people will be ostracized for imagining they'll take like tape and they'll like mark out a section of it and they'll put like a picket fence over it and they'll make love in the middle and they'll be like, this is home gooning, and this will be seen as some crazy subversive act in 2050. Photosynthesizing. I think by the year 2050 we will have just run out of things to find fetish in, and so we will turn to plants. Ad gooning, the kink where you, in the dystopia of the far future, edging yourself right up to the moment that you're served an ad in your mind control chip and reaching climax just as that ad starts or ends will be called ad gooning, and a kink in 2050. Cryo-gooning, similar to ad gooning, a form of denial kink where you make love right up to the precipice of release and cryogenically freeze yourself for like 100 years and then unfreeze and then climax. Cryo-gooning. Fembots, in the far future where any sense of gender expression or separation has all been melded together into some sort of amorphous machine-like hive mind, fembots are just like femboys if they were robots. And finally, water sports. Switzerland 3928 asks, we need to know which is the better choice between goth girls and femboys. When it comes to a discussion of what is better, the hypothetical goth girl or the aforementioned femboy, we can come up with a simple list of pros and cons. Goth girls are dressed well, wearing the categorically gothic attire, dark attire, or otherwise Victorian-inspired accessories like jewelry, corsets, makeup. Goth girls are very cute and, again, dressed very well. Music. Goth girls tend to have a particular taste in music that could be summarized to being something alternative, dark, atmospherically gothic music. Goth girls are a part of community, whether that's a community of music, fashion, or perhaps self-expression. You know that a goth girl is going to be an avid participant of those. Goth girls will also break your heart, where, I mean, you know, there you go. And let's take a look at femboys now. Femboys have penises, so I think it's very clear that the obvious choice are femboys and not goth girls. And that's going to be the end of the lecture today, students. Thank you so much for paying attention in class today. As a reminder, you can support me in my studies by checking out my Patreon. And I'd like to see the following students after class for detention. Klaus, Leafy T, Haley, Fastra, Dreamy, Kami, Blurry Pixel, Jules, Kismet Nightingale, Crystal Vu, Henry Joe, Scrambo, and Hockey Sock. Thank you again, students, and I'll see you in the next lecture.